Welcome to another episode of the Learn Psychology series. Today, we will dive into the fascinating topics of attitude and social cognition. Understanding these concepts is crucial for grasping how we interact with others and form our views of the world. Social psychology is the branch of psychology that investigates how individuals' behavior is influenced by others and the social environment. It studies behaviors that occur in the actual, imagined, or implied presence of others. Social influences play a significant role in shaping our attitudes. Social influences and attitudes. Due to social influences, people form views or attitudes about others and various life issues. These attitudes manifest as behavioral tendencies. To understand social behavior, it's essential to study social cognitive processes. This involves examining how people observe and interpret their own and others' diverse behaviors. Distinguishing opinion from attitude. Opinions are simply ways of thinking about something and do not necessarily involve emotional engagement or action. In contrast, attitudes have emotional and action-oriented components. If your views involve emotions and actions, they are more than just opinions, they are attitudes. Components of attitude. Attitudes can be positive, negative, or neutral. All definitions agree that an attitude is a state of mind or a set of views about a topic, known as the attitude object. With an evaluative feature, positive, negative, or neutral, attitudes are accompanied by an emotional component and a tendency to act in a particular way concerning the attitude object. The ABC components of attitude. Attitudes consist of three components. 1. Affective component. This is the emotional aspect of an attitude. 2. Behavioral component. This refers to the tendency to act in a certain way. 3. Cognitive component. This is the thought or belief aspect of an attitude. Together, these are known as the ABC components, affective behavioral cognitive components, of attitude. It's important to note that attitudes themselves are not behaviors but represent tendencies to behave in certain ways. They cannot be directly observed from the outside. This is an example to illustrate the concept of attitudes using a green environment scenario. Imagine a group in your neighborhood initiates a tree plantation campaign as part of a green environment movement. Your positive view towards a green environment is influenced by the information you have gathered about its benefits. This positive view represents the cognitive or C component of your attitude. When you see lush greenery, you feel joy. Conversely, you feel sadness and anger when you witness trees being cut down. These emotional responses reflect the affective or A component of your attitude. Suppose you also decide to actively participate in the tree plantation campaign. This action demonstrates the behavioral or B component of your attitude towards a green environment. Ideally, we expect these three components, cognitive, affective, and behavioral, to be consistent with each other, all aligning in the same direction. However, this consistency is not always present. For instance, you might have a strong cognitive component, knowledge and understanding, about the importance of a green environment, yet your emotional responses and actions, affective and behavioral components, may be less pronounced. Conversely, both the cognitive and affective components might be strong and positive, but your actions might remain neutral. Thus, predicting one component of an attitude based on the other two components may not always provide an accurate reflection of the overall attitude. Beliefs and values. Beliefs refer to the cognitive component of attitudes. They form the foundation of attitudes, such as believing in democracy or in a higher power. Values are both attitudes and beliefs that contain a should or ought aspect, such as moral or ethical values. For example, the belief that one should work hard or always be honest reflects values that are deeply ingrained and difficult to change. Function of attitudes. Attitudes provide a framework that helps us decide how to act in new situations. For instance, our attitude toward foreigners can shape how we behave when meeting someone from another country. Features of attitudes. There are four significant features of attitudes. 1. Valence. This indicates whether an attitude is positive or negative. For example, a positive attitude towards nuclear research would rate high on a scale from 1 to 5. 2. Extremeness. This shows how intense an attitude is. Extreme attitudes are at either end of the scale, 1 or 5. While less extreme attitudes are in the middle, 2 or 4. A neutral attitude is the least extreme. 3. Simplicity or complexity, multiplexity. This refers to the number of attitudes within a broader attitude. A simple attitude system contains few attitudes, while a complex one includes many. 4. Centrality versus peripheral. Central attitudes are core to the attitude system and influence other attitudes, while peripheral attitudes have less impact. Attitude formation. Attitudes are generally learned through personal experiences and interactions with others. While some research suggests a genetic component, It mainly influences attitudes indirectly. Social psychologists focus on the conditions that lead to the learning of attitudes. Hope you understood the topic and see you in the next one.